Well, ladies, good afternoon. How are you? Hope you are doing well. So, we are starting our online classes of the fourth quarter, and the first topic is production. So, you can see on your screens already here. Okay, production. So, what we are planning to talk about, to discuss, to understand from production. Yes, I know, ladies, it's a topic that we already passed, so we'll make some review and reinforce our knowledge, okay? Well, we will describe what is the determinants that uh, demand for factors of production. So what is the main determinants that leads to the demand for the factors of production? And we will talk about the derived demand here, right? We will tell the difference between the uh, labor intensive and the capital intensive production. So let me here to, and we will define the productivity and recognize the difference between productivity and production. So this is our task that we have to know to finish up by this topic, okay? First of all, let's talk about the production. Well, stop share, okay. I'll open another screen where we can write. Screen share, whiteboard. Okay. Well, so production, right? Production, let me write here, production. And production. Well, where is the production, ladies? Yes, exactly. I hope that you tell the true answer. Production is the process, right? It's the process. It's a process of inputting of making finished goods from inputs, right? So by our words, we can tell that it's a process of making finished goods from inputs. And what is the inputs? So now I want you to tell me the four main factors of production. Factors of production. So you know it very good. It is the cell, right? Capital, enterprise, labor, and land. So these are the four main inputs that we use to produce something. And so it's the main things that we need to, right? So what we are going to talk about. Actually, you know about how they are. What is the capital? What is the enterprise, labor, and land? So there's no need to repeat. And we will continue with the derived demand. Derived demand. So let me write it here. Okay. Derived demand. What is derived demand? Derived demand, it's the demand for any factors of production. So in order to produce, what do we need? We need factor of production. And demand for that factors of production is a derived or derived demand, however you pronounce it. This means that demand for factors of production depends on the demand of goods and services that they will need to use to produce that thing. For example, let's say, again, let's take our favorite ice cream, right? Ice cream, in order to produce an ice cream, we need a milk, we need a jangalai, and what else? What else? And we need a machine that makes from milk an ice cream, right? So jangalai, milk, and these machines are factors of production, exactly. And derived demand, the demand for milk, demand for jangalai as a, so you know that jangalai is labor right now here, right? Jangalai and this machine is a capital, are derived demand. So the demand for these inputs are derived demand. I think it's clear about. So now I want to talk with you about the labor, land, capital, and enterprise. So what are the main things, determinants? So what are the determinants that demand for factors of production? So determinant, it means that something that leads to that is the important for the demand of the factors of production. So let's remember our main economy, the basic economy. So it was that so we know that economy is the main thing in the economy is the demand and supply for a good and service, right? Okay. So things like cost, quantity, and quality are the main determinants that leads to the derived demand. So that are cost, quality, oops, I'm sorry, okay. Let's take it here, tax, okay. Cost, quality, and quantity. Are the main determinants that we do need for the demand for the factors of production. First, about the cost. Let's talk about the cost, okay? Let me draw it here. So, let me use this pen. So, cost. Okay. Oops. I'm sorry, clear. Okay. So now we are going to talk about the cost. Okay, cost. Cost of factor of production. The higher the cost of the land, labor, and capital, the lower their demand tends to be. And we know that. Let's remember about the demand and supply law. What was there? There was that, let me draw the demand curve. And draw, this was the price, and this is the, oops, let me make it a little bit straight. Okay. Okay, so this is the price and quantity, right? And we know that the cost, what was happening? Let us draw the demand curve. And I think there is no need to explain why it's demand, right? So here we have a price, right? P. Exactly. Well, so what was the law for the demand when the price is rising? When the price is rising, the quantity was increasing, right? When the price was rising, the quantity was increasing. The same with the demand for the factors of production. Assume that, for example, let's take an iPhone, okay? An iPhone, it's not iPhone, but assume that it's an iPhone. And what do we need to make this phone? We need metal, we need these chips that, for example, iPhone is using Foxconn manufacturers in China. They use these Foxconns. So assume that the price for the metal rise. What's happening with the demand for the metal? The same is happening here. You see here the price rise and quantity decreased, right? Exactly, yes, the quantity decreased. And we know that when the price is vice versa, if the price is falling down, the quantity for that product is increasing. It's the demand law, right? Let's write here, it's the demand law. Demand law. The price is increasing, the quantity is decreasing, right? Okay, this is the law for demand. And we talked the cost of the factor of production. So cost is the first determinant for the product. The second determinant is the quantity. Exactly. Let me write here. Okay. Oops, why it's not writing? Quantity. The quantity of, again, factors of production. Factors of production. What's happening? Assume that there's something that is a lot. For example, oil in the market right now, right? There are too much oil in the market, in world market, and what's happening to the oil price? Oil price decrease. Exactly, right? When something that is in a big quantity, the cost for that product and service, the price is decreasing, right? And the oil, since the manufacturers are stopped right now of a coronavirus quarantine, closed everything, what's happening? There is no demand for an oil and there is too much oil on the market, right? So that's why the cost of the market or the oil decreased. So the cost was decreased. So it has to actually to the first, according to the first, I mean here the cost, let me choose this one. So according to this, to the cost of the production, the demand have to increase, right? And actually it will be by, because we know that the quarantine one day will stop and the manufacturers, all production will renew their activities and the demand will rise, right? And of course, there's by this cost that is already on the market, it will rise twice. So the second determinant for the production is quantity of the factors of production. So if the quantity, there are a lot of quantity, the cost will fall. And if the less quantity, the cost will rise. And again, it will lead to the demand for the factor of production. And the third determinant, so let me do it this way. So this is, oops. Okay, this is the second determinant, and let me write here the third determinant. Third determinant is a quality of factors of production. Okay, the third determinant is the quality. And what do you think? How it may lead to the production process, for the how it may lead to the demand for the factors of production. Of course, if the quality is high, there will be a high demand, right? High quality will lead to the high high quality will lead to the high demand. But before demand, it will lead to the high what? Exactly, cost. Because all quality products and services always cost a lot of money, right? So it will be high cost, and it may lead to the decrease of the demand for the factors of production. And that's why we know that, for example, here's a given: surgeons, pilots, and barristers are high demand due to their highly quality skills and qualifications. That's why, for example, doctors and pilots and this qualified labor forces are always paid high wages. So, to sum up this first introduction part of the production, and we were talking about the determinants for the demand for the factors of production. So what we've talked about, let me put it here. So we talked about the production, right? Production, we've told what is the production. Is the process of making a new finished goods by the inputs. And what are inputs? They were 4 factors of production. And what is the derived demand? Derived demand actually are the demand for the factors of the production. So in order to make something, we need inputs. And what are these inputs? These inputs are labor, it's labor, land, enterprise, and capital. And demand for this labor, demand for the land, demand for the enterprise, and demand for the capital actually is a derived demand, right? Well, so finally we'll talk about the determinants of factors of production. So what were the main determinants of the factors of production? First, the cost of the factors of production, right? The cost. Then it was the quality and quantity. So these are the 3 main determinants of the factors of production that leads to the demand, the demand for the factors of production. And here I'm stopping the first part. So see you next class.